Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Or if you're new here, welcome to another edition of Kingly Conversations, man. And of course, we got another hot one for you. But before we get into all of that, Zoe's got a shout out.
Yo, this is your boy Twine. Thank you for everybody who's listening. We appreciate you. We love you. And just let's keep riding on this journey, man. Let's go.
All right, so this week we're gonna be talking about at the end of the day, you choose. So strap in, let the Kings talk about it. All right, good people. Hey, welcome back to another edition of Kingly Conversations, man. And as I am every single week, you know who it is already. It's Alan.
Yo, it's your boy Twine. What up? Let's go.
It's your friend and mentor, Calvin D. Hill.
All right, party time. So, hey, listen. So this week we talking about really at the end of the day, you choose, and this is something that is really all about, to me, taking personal accountability for who you are and where you are. And it's not saying, and that's one of my notes in here. It's not saying that there aren't extenuating circumstances. It's not saying that there are not health issues. They're not external factors that may cause you to be where you are. The problem is if you don't take accountability and responsibility, then you're essentially you're giving your own power away. And that's just how I feel about it. You're giving your power away to somebody else, saying, I can't live the life I want to live because of this other thing, or I can't do the things I want to do because of this other thing. And I just always believe that if the reason that you want to be a certain way is strong enough, then you'll do what you need to do, including going over, above, or around the circumstances that may exist to try to get that thing done. If your reasons are strong enough. Now, for most of us, our reasons just ain't strong enough, or they're not strong enough to change whatever our priority may be. So we don't necessarily get it done. But I just think at the end of the day, you choose, and the choices that you have made have led you to listening to this podcast today, and wherever that happens to find you. So that's where I was at when I thought about this.
You had,
But that's where I've been for a while. Matter of fact, in my yearbook quote was everything you do every minute affects the next minute, and that was what I said at 17 in high school.
I agree with the majority of what you said. My disagreement is only with, and I want to take, what's that?
No, I just said, Alan, you've always been ahead of your time. What was you saying, Calvin?
I was saying I agree with most of what he said. Outside of my wife, that's my only factor in the majority of my decisions. And I feel like that's the one person I give that
right.
What's a good word to it?
Deference, maybe. I don't know.
Almost like permission or that. Yeah, that's the only person I take into account really in the decisions I make, and
but
a lot of the stuff I do is based on her.
You ready though, Calvin?
Yeah. That's why I did it.
You ready? You ready?
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day,
it's your choice.
You chose.
No, and right. That's what I said. And it's the choice I made to choose to decide to be with this individual. So when I decided that that was my choice. So you have to live with the results and consequences of your choice. I don't think most people, like you said, take the accountability role into saying this is where my life is because of my choice. They say, well, there's circumstances or happenstance, whatever. But yeah, I like I said, for the majority of what you said, I agree.
I don't get what you're saying, to be honest with you. But That's your perspective.
Go ahead.
Because when it says at the end of the day it's your choice, I understand that you have determining factors that help you make those choices. However, that come, I don't see. For example, personally for myself, I chose to get better for me as far as when it comes to my mental health. I chose to become financially stable or educated for me. I chose to do the things that I do business wise, investment wise for me. Now, granted, I do have a family, and that is the main focus of making sure they have what they need when needed. But I don't. At the end of the day, I don't see that. I mean, if you don't do what you need to do for yourself first, how am I supposed to be doing anything for anybody else as far as coming in choice wise? If I choose to be slacking out here in these streets, it it affects other people because I have responsibility, but I choose to do better for myself, and at the end of the result of me doing so, that benefits the people around me as well. Does that make sense?
I understand
So
what you're saying.
for the direction, it's definitely important that you have. First of all, you have to choose a direction. You can't be out here just a leaf in the wind. You have to make sure you got something that you focused on to move forward and try to achieve those things. But for some people, I don't. A lot of people, I'm gonna be honest with you, especially with the younger generation, I don't see the focus. I don't see um, the drive as far as trying to even get moving in the direction. It's just like I said, stagnant. Anyway, um, yeah,
Well, and to be honest with you, unfortunately, I feel like every generation says that about the generations that come after them anyway. Because by the time my parents' generation was like my mother had a career already at 21. She was an army officer at 21, right? My dad had joined the Navy, got out the Navy, went to college, and then became a teacher, all before I was born. But yet, I didn't really get involved in what most people would call a career till I was in my 30s.
that's a good point. I
So I think it just depends on, and I think we have more. And I don't know where, well, I know where we got it, but that's a different topic for a different episode. But this notion of kicking your kids out at 18 is definitely a European construct. It's not anything that happened in the groups that we came from, whether that was indigenous peoples, whether that was peoples of the diaspora. They didn't do that necessarily because you lived in villages anyway. And so, and because of where most of the people lived and how most of the people lived, there was always enough of as long as you contributed. Now, if you wasn't contributing, that's another story. But if you were doing something, whether that was, anyway, but now or at least our generation, you got kicked out at 18. Like, get out of here. Go do something
let
with your
let
life.
let me be clear. Let me be clear, because I don't want to come up here like I'm somebody who had it all together when
Boomer.
he was young, but I wasn't, and I got my direction of my focus on my direction late on life. But when I said that, I don't see that in the younger generation. I wish that they would have that mindset to get going in a direction at an earlier age than I did, basically. But I guess that's a generational thing there where
It's a
you're
good wish.
young, you wildin', and you out here, and then you mature, or hopefully you mature, and you get to a stage where, all right, well, let me get something going. I'm all right. It's getting. Let's go. Let's start getting things together at a later age versus starting at a younger age like your
Go
parents
ahead,
did.
Calvin
So
D.
yeah, what you got?
At what age do you expect kids to have a generalized idea of where they want to go? Because up
You
until
asking me or you
I'm
asking?
yeah, no, this is I'm asking
Well,
either one
if
of
you
you.
if
At
you ask if
what
you're
age do
asking
y'all
me,
think?
my answer would be when they do.
So you don't have an age.
I don't have an age because
Okay.
here's the reason I don't have an age, because if I looked at where my life could have gone, the direction it could have gone, I joined the United States Marine Corps on a whim. There was no plan for that. But I could have stayed 20 years and people are like, you got you a career. Yeah, a career I ain't playing for. I ain't planning to join the Marine Corps. I told myself I was never joining the military because my mother had to early retire. So I said I ain't never joining none of them, none of the branches. And then I joined the Marine Corps, and if I had stayed 20 years, I'd have one retirement down. But I ain't planning for that at all.
What age do you think kids or people find that direction?
Let's start.
Well,
go ahead.
I think it depends on your house.
No, because Alan said no. He said he don't. There is none. Whenever they figure it out.
I honestly agree with Alan. There's no age. However, it depends on the environment that they raised in. That's one factor. I think that's a determining factor because if you have guidance at an earlier age, it will help you. Like, okay, this is what I want to do in life versus not having the guidance and just being able to do, just being able not to do or not to focus on what you're going to do in the future. I didn't have the guidance in what I was going to do and what I was going to be and what career I was going to be in XYZ. Granted, when I was in high school, I know I wanted to work in some kind of electronic field, but I that's not the direction or that's not where I ended up at. And that was when I was like a senior in high school. That's when I started that's when I started trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? What am I good at? Or what can I be successful in? But again, I did not end up in that profession. But going back to my original comment of saying that if a child has parents or some kind of leadership to help guide them, all right, okay, so what are you going to like help them focus on what they want to do in the future? All right, what are you going to do when you grow up? What are you doing? What are the things you're doing to achieve those things? Versus, all right, no kind of conversation, no kind of focus on the future. It's just right now in the moment. Let's just do what we're doing right now, basically. So it depends on the structure. There's no age, but if a child could be as young as 8, 9 years old, having a focus on what they want to do, versus someone being in their later teens, almost an adult, having a conversation with some type of leadership to help them get some kind of direction, some kind of motion.
And I think asking those questions is important. I mean, you also, I think, have to know, since we are talking about the young generation at this moment in time, you have to know those kids. Meaning that as long as I can remember, I was always a child that wanted their own, didn't want necessarily other people to do for me. And so I've always been kind of, I guess, independent in that. I mean, it was the entire reason I got a job as soon as I could. Because even before that, I was never somebody who didn't want to earn any money. That was never ever who I was. I've been selling candy since I was in middle school.
I'm a
And
hustler.
then, all right, that's what I was. And then in high school, I wasn't a drug dealer. I was just drug adjacent. I would help you. You would buy whatever from the
Come on,
actual
man.
drug
Come
dealer,
on, man.
and I
Let's
would
just move
assist
on.
you in using those products. By essentially still be an entrepreneur, buying and selling. I would buy, mark it up, and sell it because you can't buy it anyway because we are illegal at the moment. Statute of limitations ran out on all this stuff anyway, so I ain't worry about it. So I've always had a mind to figure out a way to do something. Now, as far as like what direction you want to go, I never had that. It was always just I want to do whatever I need to do to live a good life. Whatever that is. It didn't matter to me what direction that was. If that was sports, if I had been good enough, it would have been sports. If that was entertainment, if I was good enough, it's going to be entertainment. That's just my mindset. It's like, I think you choose the thing in the moment that's going to give you the life that you want, not necessarily this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. But some people are, this is what they want to do for the rest of their life, people. And when you don't know that until you start asking questions, because if you would ask me at, 12th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, what's your plan? I don't know. Go to college. That's all I got. And really, for me, going to college was a thing I felt was expected because so many people in my family have degrees, which also I know in our community wasn't normal at the 30 years ago or whatever. But most of the adults in my family had gone to college and either finished or close. Some of them, they might have been, a junior, but they didn't have a baby, had to go figure some stuff out. But they had all gone to college. It wasn't like I was the first one. So when I graduated, it's like, all right, well, you know what's next. Go do it. So I think that plays a role in it too. Now I could have chosen to get us back to what we're talking. I could have chosen to do something not that. But I chose to follow the rules. But sometimes when it comes to education, the rules do change. Because I don't know that I would actually tell a kid to go to college today.
But this is where I'm like, until a certain time or a certain point in life where you can stop and look at what you really want. Somebody's always telling you what you should choose and what you should do, especially from young kids up until you're almost 18, 23, 25, somewhere 27. Yeah. So it's like you go from one level of somebody telling you what to do to the next level of somebody telling you what to do. And it goes all the way into the adulthood. Before you look up, you have done what somebody told you to do, whether you want to admit it or not, for years, for centuries. And before you realize, centuries. And you really haven't done what you would like or could do.
You haven't made the choices.
I think that's for the majority of people. That's where they are. So it's kind of hard to say. Yeah, at the end of the day, you did choose, but at the end of the day, I feel like you were manipulated. I wish I had to be. No, but you I don't necessarily a certain system into guiding your choices. It's hard, it's rare, and it's hard to find people today, even kids, who say, I want to do this, but I have to do this, and on my free time, off time, downtime, whatever time, I do this. I'm sorry, real talk. You point me to those people.
I'm not saying it ain't difficult. I'm just saying if we're not taking responsibility, we're giving somebody else the power.
You're not going right. Now,
that's all. I'm just saying if we're not saying, yep, I made those choices. My parents influenced me to make those choices. Because like I said, I went to college because that's what was expected. I don't know that in a vacuum that would have been Alan's choice. I don't know that that's the case. Because I didn't even know what I wanted to major in. But I knew I better take my butt to college.
Well, I think a part of mine is circumstances, choices, why I didn't.
I mean, it goes back to when we talked about priorities a few episodes ago. That sometimes a priority will have you make a choice that you may not have made otherwise.
True.
Right, and I feel like it'll be a bigger challenge to get a younger mind to see further down the road in their choices, because that to me is the real issue with young people, not even old, but young people to me, because it's about fun and entertainment now,
and enjoyment now rather than the choice and the delayed gratification for later.
Well, but have they been taught delayed gratification? And that's always the problem.
And I think that's a big no.
I mean, because for the most part,
no.
I don't know that, and everybody's household is different. And when I say delayed gratification, like intentionally teaching delayed gratification,
Right.
like, okay, yeah,
Right.
you can get this thing that you're asking me for as the parent, but this is how we're going to do it. And you're going to be involved in this process, especially if it's like, whatever it is, because 16 people want cars and such, unless they're afraid to drive, but they be wanting cars, or whatever it is. It could be, hey, I want that new PS6 that they haven't announced yet. Okay, well, that's going to be probably about $500. So I'll come up with half, and let's figure out a way for you to come up with the other half.
Getting back on choice. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to add on to some of the stuff y'all was saying. Now, when it comes to choice, now how do you expect the younger generation to make choices when you have been influenced, or excuse me, manipulated, if you will, to think a certain way? How is somebody supposed to know their identity and what they want in life?
Yep.
So
it's a hard question, ain't it?
It is a hard question, and I'm just speaking from personal experience. Like, majority of
Nobody.
my time, I was when you say sheltered. So it was a focus group in the house. You were told what to do. You was told when to do it. You was told what
Right.
not to do. Exact
Right.
X, Y, Z.
Right.
So how
Right.
am I supposed to choose what I want to do in life when I'm in a
You
what do you call it? Emancipated? No, not emancipated.
you
But I'm
don't.
in a situation where I have no choice.
You don't.
So
But that's my thing. You don't really until a certain point in time to where you've created a space in your life where you can acknowledge, okay, this is what I was told, this is what I would like. I see the difference and I can see the results of my choice. Until you see that, and until you have the responsibility to change it,
mhm.
it's nothing you can do. You're gonna go from one step to the next, all the way through
Aimlessly.
until you. eh,
But just moving on.
So
I'm just
so
saying.
there's only one thing that ultimately we have complete control over. Now, here's the problem. Most of us don't know that we have complete control over because of that manipulation that we've gone through from other people. And that's, we always have freedom of thought.
Is it really free?
It is
Yeah.
if you choose it to be.
Yeah.
But the problem is most of us don't know that we can choose.
Yeah, you don't. So a lot of people haven't gotten to that point.
They don't know that they can choose. But again, at what point do you say that's on me, and I'm gonna make it different, or do you just go to your grave blaming everybody else?
Oh Lord.
Now,
Nope.
that's always the question. It's like, yes, these things happen. Yes, I was wrong. Yes, this was my upbringing. Yes, all this stuff happened to me. But am I going to make a decision that I'm going to do this? I'm going to go in this direction anyway. It might be against everything I was taught. It might be against everything that I was raised to believe. It might be against everything that I may believe currently today. But this is the direction I want to go, and no longer can I blame everybody else. It's been 50 years, and no longer can I blame. Am I going to allow myself to blame other people for where I may be? Like, at what point? And some people never get there, and I'm not saying it's easy to
Bro,
do at all.
bro. It took me to my late 30s to realize that where I was going, well, first of all, aimlessly going. That's where I was at. Didn't know that I even had a choice to have my own freedom of thought. Until first of all, I broke away from the initial, or excuse me, I thought I broke away when I went to the military, but when I came back, it was back to the same stagnant mindset And then after that, I had to deal with those things as far as people telling you what to do, what you should do. I'm a grown man allowing some people to sun me, if you will. Not understanding that, I'm supposed to have a choice, but since they said this, well, let me do it that way. Grown ass man.
And here's the thing.
Excuse my French.
Ain't French.
Touche. Keep going.
That's French.
Go ahead, man.
No, I was just going. That, but like I said, I never said that. Saying that I have the choice is easy or anything else. It's just saying at the end of the day, when they patting you on the face with the shovel, or putting you in that little jar, whichever one you choose, all the people that you wanted to do for, they're not going to be. They don't care about none of them excuses or reasons, depending on how you want to phrase it. They don't care about none of them reasons. Like,
they have their own selfish intent. They have hidden agenda, if you will.
Well, they may.
Well,
the
people I was dealing with, the people you were dealing with, it's
for
different.
Sure.
Everybody got their own,
because when it comes to like, we always talk about the younger generation and what they do and don't do. But my thing is, ain't none of them asked to be here. They ain't asked to be here.
Anybody asked to be here?
None of us did. We ripped them away from whatever existence they had or didn't have prior to getting to this plane of existence, and said, "Nah, I want you here." And then we said, "Now do what I tell you to do."
I brought you into this world. I can take you out.
I feel like for the most, and this is one of my circle talks again. I feel like for the most part, I got everything I wanted. It just didn't look like what I expected. That makes sense.
Say that one more time. Back.
I got what I wanted. It just didn't look the way I expected it.
How did you expect it to look?
And that's the problem. It's like I always wanted to be married. I wanted to have family, kids, business, home, yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. And it was just that vague in saying it, but I didn't have an expectation of how it would look.
No.
But I got what I wanted.
No, it doesn't, because you just said it didn't look like you thought it would look like, but then you say you didn't have expectations. So how do you?
Right, but that's why I said it's what it was so vague to say I want a house, right? There are millions of houses out here. You just want a house. You didn't say how it looked. You just said that's what I did. I want a wife. I didn't say what she looked like or what she would be. I said I want a wife. Got one. I said I wanted kids. I didn't say what they would be or look like or do any of that.
No. I don't want to be confrontational, but so what I heard. Correct me if I'm wrong. Details. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. So in the beginning, you said you got what you wanted, but it wasn't what you thought it would look like. All right. Right. So that to me says that you had an expectation of what it was supposed to be. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Wrong.
Okay. I'm listening.
Okay. I'm gonna say exactly right. Okay. I'm gonna say it again because I didn't have the details, and that's what I'm telling you.
Now is it that you didn't have the details,
I didn't
or you didn't give those details when you were making your wish list?
Either way you put it, that's why I said it was so vague in my listing and what I wanted. That makes sense.
I'm listening.
Because I just said y'all.
I'm listening.
I want a house.
Yes.
I want a house.
Yes.
Okay. That's vague. That's broad. That doesn't give details on a 2-story, 3-story, 1 bedroom, 5 bedroom, 12, whatever, yada yada. Those are details, right? I said I wanted a house. I got the house. It's not what I thought I wanted because I should have asked for more details. Did that make sense? Did that help? No, that don't help. No, if it's me, Tom say Calvin, that don't make sense. And I'm like, all right, it don't make sense.
I don't want to say it doesn't make sense, but I mean I understand what you're trying to say. So I'm gonna just leave it at that.
What am I trying to say? Matter of fact, I got one. What did you hear me say?
I heard you say, "Let's move on." That's what I heard you say.
What did you hear me say? That's what I try to help people with. What did you hear me say? Because that's what I feel like, and I can only talk about me. That's what I feel like happened in life. I said I wanted these things without giving details. They were so broad and generalized. I didn't work on the details of what it should look like, but I didn't think it would look like what I got. Make sense? No, that might be me.
No,
hey, sure, man.
I'm fine.
That's good.
I'm fine with being me. I'm fine with being. I'm fine.
We know.
You got to tell me.
I'm fine.
So,
hey, but that takes you that choice thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, yeah, you chose. This is what you got. Now, really look at this. This what you really were after. So, do you need to make an adjustment? This is what I chose. This is what I got in life. I got this. This is based off the choices I made. So now that I got it, so do I need to add more detail to my approach, or do I need to?
You can always,
because I got everything I wanted. I got everything I wanted.
You can always renovate the house, bro. You good?
No.
You got a house. Listen, you got a house.
Listen,
Linda.
That's my supervisor.
You got. Shout out to Linda, whoever you are. I hope you're listening. Mm-mm. So you got the house. It wasn't what you expected. You could always add or take away from that house. So it can meet your expectations. Oh man,
you said throw an extra wife in there.
Oh my!
No, player. No, player. Not right. Hey.
Now you're putting words in my mouth, Deacon. Now you're putting words in my mouth, Deacon.
Throw some D's on it.
So, that's not what I was trying to say. First of all,
you talking about renovating and adding? No, you know.
I was just saying the house. Like for example,
like you know what? Hey, here's 3 more kids for you.
Look. You said you made a choice that you wanted a house. Cool, bet. And I'm just using the house. I'm not including the kids. I'm not including the wife. I'm just using the house as an example. You say that you chose to have a house. All right, cool, bet. You got a house. It's not what I expected, or I didn't think it would look like this. And it's not to my expectations, or if it is or isn't, you can always add or take away from the house as far as making it something in more detail of what you want. That's what I was just trying to say.
Right, and that's what. Right.
Yeah, whatever. Let's move on.
So the other thing I think that goes into this, and I think the reason that most people never get to any, I'm not gonna say most people, some people never get to any semblance of actually knowing that they have a choice, is because they never got that education. They never learned it from anywhere. They never learned that they did, in fact, have the opportunity to have choices. Especially once you become an adult, there may be priorities, and so I think that being a lifelong student helps you understand some of these, because some of this stuff that I think about, at least, I've heard for, I don't want to say forever, but for pretty much forever, in terms of just taking responsibility, because I learned years ago that if you're not having the success you want in any area, you're either not doing something right or you're not doing it enough.
You want to be skinny, but you choose to eat more.
Hey,
oh my God.
Nope, not even just more of the wrong things. Because if you ate a bucket of salad, for an example, you eat a whole bucket of salad, and I mean a bucket, like 5-gallon bucket, or you could eat 3 cheeseburgers, and it's going to give you the same caloric intake. Now, It's not going to necessarily give you the same fat content and protein content or whatever, but it's going to give you the same caloric intake, roughly. Whole bucket, 3 cheeseburgers. And you get to choose which one of those you're going to take.
Cookies.
Soft batch.
And lose third. And did.
Did.
Look,
as a matter of fact, look,
lost 25.
When we were first and this is why I say that, you know, it just, you got to choose which path you're going to walk down and walk it. Because when we first started doing the keto you know, stuff before we jumped full-fledged off the horse, you know, people were saying, oh, well, you know, your cholesterol is going to be this, and your blood pressure probably going to be, and blah, 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 and this, that, and the third. And then my numbers were the best they'd ever been.
Interesting.
So, because it really was more about, I fully believe that if most people just cut out processed sugar, that their entire, you know, the numbers that the doctor looks at when you go get a physical, Calvin. I know you don't really know what these are because you don't go that often.
You're gonna have to
hey, I did it when I got my life insurance policy.
Well, you ain't had no choice, so unless you wanted to pay,
and them babies were right.
Yep. So, but hey, guess what? You still got to inspect what you expect.
That's what I like. Now say that again and drop that bomb on.
You got to inspect what you expect. You know, we can't. You know, what did Jim Rohn say? You can't. If it's a new baby, you can't wait 30 days to weigh the baby. Like, you need to know it's like if the baby's, because you know baby's supposed to gain weight. That's all they're supposed to do. So if the baby start losing weight,
there's a problem.
You might have a problem on your hands, especially if it's like, you know, not an ounce. But if you 9 pounds 4 ounces and all of a sudden you 8 pounds, there's a problem. You need to find out what it is. But if you're not weighing the baby, if you're not inspecting what you expect, then next thing you know, baby be.
I'm gonna use that. Oh, I got to apply that. That go with everything. That go with a lot more than what he said.
It goes with everything.
Ooh,
it really goes with everything.
That.
Now here's the thing though. Let's not inspect what we expect to manipulate other people. Because I know how humans are. So I'm just putting that out there for all the people listening. Don't be like, ooh, you know.
No,
people didn't give you permission to hold them accountable. You can't hold them accountable.
If they on your team, if they're not gaining weight, something wrong.
So Calvin, what's your deadlift looking like these days?
If they're not improving in the area that they need to improve in, something wrong.
Cue the music.
No, sir.
We still got 4 bullet points, man. Y'all talking about we got 4 bullet
sir.
points in here, man.
Hey, cause we got time, man. We got more to do. Got time, man. We gotta stay on schedule. People gotta get to work.
All right, I got something in closing. Let's go. I'm gonna hit one of these bullet points. I got you. I'm gonna use.
Do a part 2.
I ain't going to use. You choose the people that you will be around. I'm gonna use that. Y'all ready? I'm gonna use that in closing. All right. How many friends are helping you lose? Choose wisely. That's all I got.
I broke my headset messing with him. I'm walking off.
I
ain't got nothing to say.
Listen.
Let me make sure this thing on.
Listen.
I'm gonna do it again. I buy a number.
All we saying is at a certain point.
What you say?
At a certain point, man.
I don't want you to break your headphones, bro.
I'm gonna break it again. Do it again. Say it again.
All I'm gonna say is how many friends are helping you lose? Choose wisely. Choose wisely. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, we got technical difficulty.
Man, I'm gone, man. I'm done.
All right,
we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah, till next time.